Hey guys, welcome back to the Crypto Wave. So, next step on the white paper journey for the animal farm. So, if you guys missed it, I did a video yesterday, day before, I can't remember, talking about yield farming. What the heck is it? All of these farms usually have about the same system or the same purpose, but some of them just tweak it a little bit. Some of them provide a little bit of leverage, some of them provide higher percentages, some people have different tricks or unique things with their localized token, and Animal Farm is no different. I do like what they're doing with the Animal Farm, though. This is actually a pretty genius move that, to my knowledge, hasn't been done yet. If you guys have any questions on the yield farming aspect of things and what it actually is to yield farm, I did a basic kind of my own version of explanation on that on a video previously. But what we're going to talk about this time is, in that other video we talked about the yield farming and how you want the local token that you're farming to have a use case or a utilization. You also wanted to have an appropriate amount of kind of checks and balances, so it's not this infinitely produced token, because the more tokens that go into the market from farming, it can actually drive the price down just because it's just too abundant. And excuse me, and what people typically do is they farm it, and they just immediately, once they farm it, they sell it on the market, So you need a couple of different things. One, you need a reason for people to hold that particular token. Two, you want there to be a balance between what's being produced and what's being bought or burned, I guess you could say. And then there's other aspects in it, but those are kind of the big ones. And so what an animal farm does is actually pretty unique. It does what's called it has one of the many features that it has. One is there's already buyback and burns on all transactions that involve the dog token. Excuse me. Sorry, it's about 1 a.m. here. I'm a little tired. But one of the things they do is actually have a tax on all buys and sells of the dog token itself, and that tax is actually pulled out and used to buy back or burn or add liquidity to the dog BUSD pool, further stabilizing that price, but also trying to take some of the dogs off the market, burn it forever, and kind of get rid of it. And another way they do that is what they call the Rehypothecation Contract. And in essence, what does this mean? So this means actually, to break it down nice and easy, is if you go over to the farms here, and if you look at all these farms, anything that's put in here that farms dogs, so any of these farms really, any of these farms really, what they're actually doing is, not only are you depositing your collateral on here, and we talked about this on the previous video, that collateral earns you a high yield percentage for providing stability and providing liquidity for the decentralized market itself. And with that comes a reward, and that reward on this particular site comes in the form of dogs tokens. Now, the dog token actually has a couple different use cases. One is it's the only way to earn pig tokens, and number two, there's going to be games and lotteries and stuff that are involved with it. But what they do that's a little bit more unique is, once you have collateral locked in here and you have a particular value, for instance, this one I have $820 here, farming dogs for me. And what does it actually do? So they are actually, well, actually, that's what I've earned. I apologize. That's what I've earned at the moment. But anyways, what this is actually doing is, when you deposit into here to earn these dogs, on the back end, what they're actually doing is taking that and actually putting it and staking it on PancakeSwap. So in essence, they're kind of yield farming the collateral provided on the back end to earn cake, to then use that cake earned to buy back dogs and burn it, and then help with marketing, development, and platform costs, which is pretty dang genius, to be honest with you. I don't know of another one that does this, that I guess, sorry, I keep yawning, that kind of does this double dipping. Most farms, once you deposit it on there, you're earning the localized coin, or whatever it is that they're giving away for the bonus, or the incentive for using that particular farm, and then that's it. You take it and leave it as you go. In this particular case, it's actually depositing on to their site, but it sounds like what it's actually doing is it's working as a middleman where it's actually getting deposited onto the pancake site, and it's earning, although on the animal farm you're earning a higher percentage, you're getting dogs because that's controlled within the localized contract that the developers of the animal farm control. But what it's actually doing is it's farming cake on the back end also to help with those buybacks and burns, as well as marketing for the dog token, which is pretty dang smart. So every single day you're in here claiming your dogs and claiming and selling it or whatever the case is you're going to do with it. On the other end of it, so for instance, you have the cake B&B here, you're going to be earning your 146% with whatever you deposited on there. But in reality, you actually, on the back end, let's go over here to farms. Farms. Oh, look at that. Cake got up to 864 again. That's really good. So on this particular farm, you have the Cake WB&B pool. They're actually taking that and actually getting a 35% APY or APR on that, that they are then utilizing to buy back, get cake, sell it, buy dogs, burn it, and then help with marketing development. So that is huge. So the other thing I want to talk about on this is what they call the dynamic emission rate. And you guys have probably seen this before. We're going to break it down very, very simple. So you have the pigs and the dogs. Currently, they both say pause, but before they said deflationary. So what is this dynamic emission rate? There's this wonderful page here that goes all about it, and it talks about the dynamic emission and what's it going to look like. You have maximal peg, restriction, deflationary. So what in the world does all this mumbo jumbo mean? Let's just put it this way. The easiest way to put it is that this is it's a contract built upon the animal farm for both the pigs and dog token. And basically what it does is it's continually looking at the all-time high. So it's here. So it's always looking at the all-time high, and it's always looking at, I believe, the all-time low. And it doesn't really say how often it does this, but in essence, excuse me. Whew, sorry, again, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning here. What it's basically doing is it's looking at those all-time highs and those all-time lows on a day-to-day. It doesn't really say if it's day-to-day or how often they do it, and it's taking an average of that. And if it's starting to notice that the amount of dogs being sent out of the farm are being sold on the market, driving price down, it will in essence change the rate in which the dogs is given out here. And when that change in rate, what in theory, in that change in rate, what it's actually going to do is less dogs are coming out and getting sold on the market because the admission is going to decrease. And what that should do is hopefully cause less selling and more holding. And with less selling, more holding, and less going out, you should see an upswing on that price. And the way it does that is it's always in 25% increments. And I believe that's where these come in. Oops, sorry, let's go back over here. That's where these come in. I know this is actually called a maximal peg restricted deflationary, but in essence what I'm imagining is this is 100% emission, 75% emission, 25% emission, and then probably like basically 5%. It's always going to admit something, but something along those lines. And basically these are just words to represent that, which again has not been done before, and even to the great aspect of the pancake swap. So cake, I don't think people realize when you're yield farming cake, it is an ever growing supply. It will never stop producing cake. If people are selling it, that's it. So what does the pancake people do? Well, one, they're the biggest exchange on Binance right now, and so they have massive amounts of trade volume. And with that massive amount of trade volume, they actually do burns, and they actually do it. They announce it on their Twitter, and every couple of days or week or whatever it is, I don't pay that close attention to it, they're taking, just millions of dollars and buying cake and burning it off, and in essence trying to drive down that supply that's out there and circulating, and that helps boost this up. The other thing that keeps it up and afloat is just the amount of cake that people lock up, and so they find inventive ways, whether that be people buying these NFTs or doing these lotteries and all these other games and stuff like that, utilizing pancake and giving the cake token a utilization for give incentive for people to mine it, hold it, or farm with it. So those are two really, really unique things that go into, and that's a very simplistic way of kind of digging into it. Hopefully it makes sense. I keep yawning. It's late. I'm going to end it there, but hopefully this makes sense and kind of ties into the previous video. If you're new here, I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully this makes sense. And like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And if you have questions, drop a comment below. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.